Hello and welcome back to 10 Minute Strategy. My name is Peter Propp. I'm the VP of Strategy and Marketing at Knock Media. And we're here today with Chris Hackney, CEO of AI Guardian, which is a pioneering platform dedicated to ensuring that businesses remain secure, compliant, and ethical in their use of AI. So, very timely topic, and we're excited to have Chris with us. So, Chris, welcome. And could you please define AI governance and why it's so important?
Yeah, no, pleasure to be here, Peter. Thanks for the invite. Yeah, AI governance is simply doing the things you should be doing to make sure you have a safe, responsible integration in AI, what you do. It's there to help you accelerate your AI integration, but do it in an ethical and law-abiding way, which is extremely important at this stage of obviously the AI journey.
Right, right. So how is the AI Guardian platform typically implemented? What's the job description of the person who would be using the system? Maybe there's multiple job descriptions.
No, that's a great question because it's a little all over the place right now. But what we always say is there's always someone at every company who owns risk management for AI, right? There's development working on it, there's a sales team, marketing team. But at the end of the day, whether it's your CIO, your CISO, maybe even your CDO, someone's got responsibility to say, hey, are we managing the risk around this properly? And so if they are, that's who our primary user is. And they're making sure the basics are getting done in governance, right? So we've got a policy for AI. We know what we're doing in AI. We've got risk assessments. So all those things that go into proper governance, if they own it, then they're usually our partner.
Okay, great. And so a typical experience for that end user, how do they use the platform?
So typically what they'll use it is for is like any kind of risk management or compliance and platform. They'll come in and use it as a centralized source of truth and record keeping for everything they do. We also bring in things like NIST AI RMF standards so they can do risk management and risk mitigation. But in a lot of it is getting organized and making sure that you've got your entire organization organized
Mhm.
around this subject. Mhm.
Right. And so are you providing like checklists and things that must be done in order to leverage the system? Is that the sort of thing we're talking about?
I always say it's like every time you take a flight, the pilot has a checklist before you take off.
Right.
It's that type of thing, right? Have you done these 20 things you should be doing to make sure that on a repeatable basis, your AA integration is going to go smoothly? Hmm.
Got it. And so in terms of AI governance, it's a relatively new field, or at least broadly. Where do you see it going in 2024?
Yeah, that's also a great question. So far, 2023 and into 2024, it's been about governance, right? What are the things, the hygienic things I should be doing, just like I do with data privacy or other areas that I should be doing responsibly as this company moves forward. The theme of 2024 will be moving from governance to compliance. There are regulations on the books and coming quick. The EU AI Act already is passing and going to be enforced this year. And so there's things you're going to have to do to comply with those laws that are very strictly defined. So instead of going, hey, I need broad committees, I need inclusion, I need to follow responsible AI, there's going to be very strict things you have to certify against, whether you're building models or you're using applications. And so that's where I think this will trend towards, just like it did in data privacy after GDPR.
Hmm. One of the areas I've noticed a lot of discussion about is AI-based fakes of content.
Sure.
And I know this might be off base just a little bit, but for discussion about um, using crypto to basically watermark
Yeah.
like an NFT pieces of original work, so that derivative works that don't have the watermark are known to be derivative.
Yes.
Is that something you've heard about?
Yes, it's a huge area in this space, and you actually just had Meta come out today with an announcement that they're going to be watermarking everything that's created through their systems
Right.
to combat this. You're also going to see the major LLM players like Google and Microsoft kind of share their watermarking so that they all can identify things that come out of
Yeah.
each other's systems. But at the end of the day, you're going to have a whole bunch of third-party systems that don't adhere to that, and it's going to be really hard to keep track of all the things that are fake versus real at that stage. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fascinating area.
Yeah.
Uh, so what should companies be doing now, when it comes to AI governance, but maybe with a system like yours or without? What are the best practices they should be thinking about?
Yeah, we have a lot of advice we give clients, especially given their complexity of what they do. But what we tell them is don't get overwhelmed, right? Start with some basics, get those done. And then sure, the list might be longer, but at least you got the first 5 things done, right? It's the
Yep.
old adage, how do you move a mountain? One
Yeah.
spoonful at a time,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um, it's the same here. You should absolutely be setting up AI committees at your company that are inclusive of all the roles that are important, right? Obviously, it's your tech groups, it's your risk management groups, it's your sales teams, et cetera. But you should have an inclusive committee that understands what's going on. You should be doing AI mapping. What are all the applications we have? Because a lot of the legislation and lawsuits that are going to come not only covers the big LLMs that are new, but it's going to backtrack into the previous ML and NLP work you've done.
Right.
Um, and then you should be doing risk mitigation. You should be setting up policies that define how people use AI at your company, what the proper use cases are.
Right.
And then you should be risk mitigating against your projects, understanding the risk that it exists, because a marketing project is very different from an HR project and how AI can be used and the risks associated with it. And so what we tell clients is if you do those 4 or 5 things up front, um, you're covering, it's the old 80-20 rule, right? You're covering 80% of the things that are going to bite you later.
Right.
And just started there. So that's kind of how we usually tee it up.
Right. Um, I attended the AI summit in Manhattan in December, which was really interesting. I think it'll be 5 times as big next December, but
Yeah.
it was a substantial size and a lot of interesting vendors and players, including IBM and many others. But one thing that there were a lot of was hallucination prevention platforms. And I wonder if you could speak to that just a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. What I'd say about them is it's a little bit of a business, but it's a little bit of a sales gimmick at this stage. Their true accuracy is tough, like because you do this a lot with plagiarism at schools. They buy them. The problem they have is it's very hard. It's still very hard unless you've watermarked something to detect what was a human output from a AI output, and that's why we're both amazed by this and
Right,
scared. Right.
right, right,
And so I'd say on those AI systems, I always hate the worst use of the word hallucination.
right,
Implying something that's not there.
right.
Um, all they are is probability models. They based on everything they've been trained on and what you give it, it is guessing that what's called the next token, the next
Mhm.
characters,
Yep.
at 15 to 20 at a time. And it's not a hallucination. It's more lack of a confidence level being set, meaning it will always guess an answer, but it
Mhm.
might have a low confidence to it. And when it does, it comes up with something, the highest probability, even though it's a low overall probability.
Right,
The way you fix that is you just tell it, only show me results with high probability, right?
right.
And then go away. Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I that's a great way to frame that
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
That's very helpful.
Yeah.
Good one. All right. See, I told you, we got the
Yeah.
timer pretty quickly. Um, excellent. Well, I hope you'll come back, Chris, because I've really enjoyed the conversation and getting the input from someone who's actually working actively with customers to solve their AI challenges right now. It's such a hot topic, and I really appreciate your time and expertise. So,
Yeah.
thanks so much.
No, thank you, Peter. Yeah, I'd love to come back. Trust me, it's going to be a dynamic space in the year ahead, both on where we go from an innovation perspective, but even more so on the laws and regulations coming down the pipe. But appreciate the time today.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.